I'm Kevin Wilk, the mayor of Walnut Creek, and welcome to the State of the City. What a difference a year makes. It was just 1 month after then Mayor Luella Haskew delivered her State of the City address that the world changed. The first shelter-at-home order went into effect. I want to spend most of our time looking forward, because I can honestly say that we have much to look forward to at this time. But let's be real. We can't focus on the future without an honest look back at the year that was. 2020 offered 3 distinct but interrelated crises that were unlike any I can remember in the past. We were bombarded with COVID-19, the virus that most of us had barely heard of a year ago. We experienced the dive off the economic cliff as a result, with so many of our most cherished businesses across all sectors being dealt an unfair hand and scrambling to survive. And in the midst of all being cooped up inside, social unrest across the country landed squarely in our block, with protests and demonstrations amid rising political tensions. Independently, each of these crises is enough to shake a city to its core, but Walnut Creek has found ways to survive. When the need for COVID-19 testing sites became apparent, Walnut Creek stepped up. We worked with the county to find a suitable location before settling on the Ignacio Valley Library, a testing site that's been in place for months, offering convenient testing capacity for our residents with now quick turnaround times for results. Many business owners stepped up and actually offered their facilities as options for testing, and we thank you for the community-minded thinking. Nearly 2,400 Walnut Creek residents have been stricken by coronavirus since we started tracking it last March, and we've lost nearly 60 of those as a result, the vast majority being residents of long-term care facilities located in the city. What experts have learned over the past year, from medications to preventative measures, has improved outcomes considerably for most who test positive. The economic crisis COVID thrust upon Walnut Creek came at a time when the city was finalizing our budget and looking forward to a multi-million-dollar surplus, following a successful year for our business community. Within a short amount of time, we were suddenly having to close an even larger budget gap before July 1st, and our 2020 to 2021 budget was reduced considerably with the plunge in sales tax and other revenues. Thanks to many of you here today, we fought back. You got creative. Businesses that could legally open during the shelter-at-home order found ways to meet customer needs without relying upon old models. You became flexible, and if something didn't quite work, you continue to find other paths to deliver goods and services. We launched the Walnut Creek Together campaign, emphasizing the need to support local businesses. The city became unusually nimble in making code changes to allow for outdoor retail and restaurant operations in public parking spaces and the rights of way. Who knew that outdoor dining would become the only dining for so many months? And that space heaters would become such a precious commodity. The chamber itself stepped up to the plate with webinars, best practices training, and advising seminars on topics including small business loans, tax relief, and grant programs. The city launched our REBOUND program designed to cut through red tape that too often makes permitting changes take time that our businesses just didn't have. We promoted open businesses on our website and social media and waived fees whenever possible and wherever possible. And just last month implemented a restaurant grant program of which I'm enormously proud. One virus forced so many businesses to cut staff and operations, and in far too many instances shut down for good. One community helped build so many operations back up, and we will continue to be there for each other. Last summer, social unrest across the nation hit home in Walnut Creek, and we've seen more demonstrations in our city than in many years. The vast majority of them have been peaceful marches and gatherings that allow our residents to express their First Amendment rights. To be clear, we know we've had some that got out of hand, and our police department has worked hard to find the best path, affording people their right to demonstrate, but not at the expense of others out shopping or enjoying our outdoor dining scene. We heard from some who thought our officers were too aggressive in enforcement, and others who wished we'd done more. Our police department has added additional training to enhance the safety of our businesses and your customers. We want everyone to feel comfortable visiting our shops and outdoor restaurants. Make no mistake though, the call for social justice hit home here as well. I called for a diversity and inclusivity task force to be created, and with Mayor Pro Tem Francois, we'll be heading that group this year. We invite Chamber members to participate and follow the progress as we work to ensure Walnut Creek offers a sense of belonging to all who live, work, and visit our city. In addition, the city has been a leading voice in advocating for a 24/7 unarmed mental health crisis response team that is run by the county and which Walnut Creek will be a full participant in. This is moving forward through the county and will be supported in part by the passing of Measure X. You'll be hearing more about this throughout the year as we look forward to its implementation. Meanwhile, the City Council didn't stop operating and the demand for services and programs continue to expand. The Council has periodically met to set priorities for our community, drawing upon significant resident input. The current Council priorities will be discussed again next month through a COVID lens, but we continue efforts to support 4 key focus areas. Fiscal sustainability has long been a priority for Walnut Creek, and it's more critical now than ever. Sound fiscal decisions by this and prior councils put the city on good footing, even during this economic crisis. But we can't be asleep at the wheel. Our emphasis on economic development is likewise more important than it's ever been. Last year, we adopted an economic development strategic plan that we hoped would encourage our businesses to thrive. Now we're viewing how to mold efforts to deal with the economic realities we couldn't have seen coming a year ago. The city's emphasis on environmental sustainability and the needed update to our Sustainability Action Plan, likewise, is now informed by new circumstances. While the plan received less notable focus over the past year, our overall sustainability goals remain critical, with an update coming next week. And our final priority, dealing with our aging infrastructure and public facilities that are in desperate need of updates, continues to be top of mind. Some of our facilities didn't get as much use this past year, but like everything else, they aged nonetheless. Much of our infrastructure and many community centers are nearing the end of their normal lifespans, and it will take significant investments to prepare them for the future. Our council will look at these priorities in early March and invite your input on where we should put our 2021 focus, recognizing that what we think is a solid game plan now can be upended by factors beyond our control. One of the benefits of a highly engaged residential and business population is the steady stream of input means we are not making decisions in a vacuum. As I reflect upon the past year, one thing that's become obvious to me is that Walnut Creek is resilient. We see it in the ways our business community stepped up at the start of the pandemic and never looked back, not unless it was to reach back with a hand out to help someone else. Who can forget the efforts of many restaurants to help feed first responders working in challenging conditions? The city began a Neighbor Express program designed to allow our residents who wanted to volunteer services to be matched with others who needed the help. And I kept hearing stories from people about everyday citizens stepping up to take extraordinary measures without asking for recognition or thanks. With that in mind, I'm launching our city's Heroes Among Us program, and we'll be asking you to consider who has stepped up in ways unheard of a year ago. Every other month, we'll solicit nominations for the unsung Walnut Creek heroes and recognize them online and on our social media channels. We want to hear stories of people who have inspired you in ways big and small. If you visit our city website this afternoon at walnut-creek.org, you'll see how you can nominate someone for our Heroes Among Us honors. And we will share their stories and your thanks. Living in a world where interaction is more virtual than in person, I think it's vital that we pause from time to time, in between Zooms and webinars and virtual meetings, and remember what makes Walnut Creek so special. It's our people, our everyday heroes who go the extra mile, offer the additional hand, and have found creative ways to support one another. Our City Council has a busy 2021. It's my hope and expectation that before the end of the year, we'll return to our council chambers for meetings, and city staff will welcome the public with open doors at City Hall and other city venues. We know you have high expectations and priorities for our city operations, and we're excited to make the most of whatever 2021 brings to all of us. I remain confident of better things ahead and look forward to more face-to-face conversations with our chamber community and our community at large. Until then, though, while we're starting to see some light, we're living the virtual life on Zoom. I'd like to hear your questions and thoughts about the city and how we can help you navigate through this challenging time. Thank you.